So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Creatio's webinar today. Today is a very special occasion because we will be discussing Creatio's ideas about the future of banking and how our unified low-code platform for banks can support your organizations to move from 10 screens to one. My name is Creatio, and I am the Analyst Relations Manager at Creatio, and I look forward to joining one of my colleagues as we discuss some of our unique capabilities for banking and financial services customers in greater detail today. We hope to make this a very interactive discussion, so we welcome you to post all of your questions in the chat section throughout our webinar, and we will follow up with any unanswered questions after the webinar today, as well as for registered attendees. We will be providing you with a recording of this webinar once we've completed the session. And we've established an agenda for this discussion today. So first, I will be discussing or introducing a speaker and tell you a bit about Creatio. Next, we will talk about what key banking customers want and what they need from a CRM. And next, we'll discuss Creatio's process-driven CRM and BRM capabilities for banks, followed by 3 great unique customer cases from Creatio customers. And lastly, we will open up the discussion for a live Q&A. And again, I'd like to invite you to submit any and all of your questions that you have during the session in the chat section at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Now I'd like to just hand off quickly to my colleague, Eric Hale, as he leads our discussion today. Eric?
Excellent, thanks, Corey. Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Hale, Director of Sales Enablement at Creatio. I work to align our strategy across our marketing, sales, and operational teams. I've been with Creatio for just over 2 years and have had the opportunity to work with some of our strategic financial service customers all around the globe. I've been in enterprise sales for more years than I'd care to admit in public. But that's because I truly enjoy learning about customer business strategies and helping them meet their goals through technology. So really looking forward to this presentation, guys. And Corey, back over to you.
Great, thank you so much, Eric, for that introduction. Now, for many of you, this will be some backgrounder, but Creatio is a globally diverse organization with 5 offices worldwide. And these offices house over 650 employees. We have a robust and continuously growing channel network of over 700 partners, and this large number of partners and this robust community of employees allow us to deliver our solution in 110 countries around the world. We're very proud of this global reach, and it's something that we continue growing over the years. We're also highly recognized by key industry analysts such as Gartner and Forrester, and I look forward to sharing more about this analyst recognition that we've received over the years. Just to quickly emphasize Creatio's mission, that we believe that Creatio has created a world where everyone can automate business ideas in minutes. You know, users with little to no coding experience can automate processes and simplify their daily tasks, and we accomplish this through our core differentiators, or what we now refer to as our Creatio superpowers. And these are our BPM engine to change processes faster, our low-code platform to make everyone a developer, and our unified CRM to align sales, marketing, and service. And to speak a bit about that analyst recognition that I touched on before, Creatio is currently included in 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants, 2 of which we are recognized as a leader in, the Magic Quadrant for CRM lead management and the Magic Quadrant for Salesforce automation. We are also included in 1 other CRM Magic Quadrant and 2 Magic Quadrants that speak to our low-code and process automation capabilities. We are also recognized by Forrester in 7 Forrester Waves. We're very proud of this accomplishment. That's a very impressive number of Forrester Waves to be participating in. And the former 5 of these waves actually speak to our SFA and CRM capabilities, while the latter 2 actually speak to our process, or excuse me, the second to last 2 speak to our low-code capabilities and process automation capabilities. We are recognized as a strong performer in many of these Forrester waves, and again, it's something that we continue to to value, and that we continue to grow in the future. Off to you, Eric. So now we'd like to just engage our viewers here for a quick poll. We would like to ask, what do key banking customers want from their CRM? So let's actually ask a question that we have in the chat section while we give our viewers some time to respond to the poll. So Eric, how does a financial services business differentiate itself with leads?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Corey, and I think that we have some information on that a little later in the presentation. But so as these leads come in, you got to understand that financial service industry, there's a lot of competitors out there, and the way that financial institutions and banks differentiate themselves is a couple of different factors. First, their product set and what they have to offer, but also the benefits of doing business with their banks. So what sort of benefits they have to offer, how do they differentiate on service, how can you get support, how can you access your data. So the tools that you provide along with the products that you offer and returns are really how banks have to differentiate themselves in today's environment.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that that thorough response, Eric. So let's take a look at our results from the first poll. So it looks like most of our respondents said, give me anytime, any place, access to my balance. We'll definitely agree that that's something that's useful in a platform for banking customers. While many of these options are probably very useful, I agree that that is certainly one that stands out. So Eric, let's dive into the discussion and talk about some of Creatio's capabilities and differentiating qualities, some things that we offer to our banking and financial services customers.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. So, very interesting results, guys. We based these questions on a recent CGI group study about what the top 5 wants of banking consumers were. And we have a kind of a differentiated poll here. So the results were, slightly different, but I think that the percentages really speak to consumer behaviors and how they've changed over the years. So consumers understand that they have a lot of choices when it comes to choosing who they want to do business with. So therefore, they expect or seek out financial institutions that offer the best rewards, whether these are discounts, incentives, free toasters. I probably just dated myself, but remember when banks used to give out a free toaster every time you opened up a new account. So, they expect to be rewarded for the business because they understand that they have a lot of choices. So you should be offering rewards to consumers so that you can help differentiate yourself in the marketplace. That's their expectation. Secondly, to your point, Corey, and I think to the rest of the audience here as well, they also fully expect access to any of their information whenever or wherever they want it, right? And it's not just their checking or savings account balance, but they want to understand everything that they're doing business with your organization. So credit card and loan balances, everything that will help them make better decisions with their finances. They want to have that access. So no surprise that that's number 2 on that list. So they also, to that third point, see me as a person. When they call or walk into a branch location, they expect you to know them as a person, not just an account number. Anyone with older versions of core banking systems will recognize the need for this. When you walk into the bank or you call, are you asked for your account number or your name and some identifiers, right? So a lot of core banking systems or legacy systems, think of customers as an account number. That just doesn't meet the expectations that banking consumers have today. And finally, they want financial institutions to provide value beyond just transactional engagements, right? They want guidance on things like, how do I build wealth and how can I change my spending behaviors to save more money? So, if we have to consider, what banking consumers want, we also have to take into account what financial institutions and banks want as well. So the Emmerich Group did a study last year on this subject, and you can see how this ties back to banking consumer expectations. They understand that you can't rely on strategy alone. You have to build a culture within an organization that will empower and excite your teams to execute on that strategy. As we had talked about, in that question prior to the poll, competition is, very fierce within the financial services industry. You have big banks, local community banks, credit unions, online banks, and these are just some of the competitors that are out there today. What about competition that we haven't even encountered yet? How long before big tech companies like Amazon get into banking? It will be the organizations that put all of their focus on providing the best customer experience and tools that are going to survive. So they really have to provide that remarkable customer experience. They also want to own the entire customer relationship. So many financial institutions struggle with this challenge, right? They have customers with one or two products, maybe a checking account and a credit card, but how do they get more share of wallet with their customers? How do we get their auto loans, mortgages, student loans? They really want to own that entire client relationship. They also want to target higher and more profitable clients. And how do they do that? As with any business, we know that the 80-20 rule comes into play heavily, especially in financial services. So, the majority of organizations' revenue can be generated by a smaller group of profitable accounts. And then finally, within banks, they want to provide great returns for investors, right? Investors are never quite happy. They always want more. So we should be providing better and better returns for our investors. So, these are the top 5 wants of banks and financial institutions. So it's great to understand what consumer expectations are and how financial institutions plan to differentiate themselves from their competition. But the challenge really is, how do you execute on that strategy? So financial institutions have many different siloed systems that house customer data, whether those are core banking systems, lending systems, and it seems like new applications are coming out every 3 to 6 months. So a lot of banks and financial institutions have app proliferation. They also have many complex processes. So if you think about customer onboarding, new account opening, lending, underwriting, how can you orchestrate these to create better engagements and better experiences with your customers? So if you're having to access multiple systems for a single transaction with a customer, that can lead to frustration from the end user, that front office worker that's engaged with that particular customer, but it also could lead to a poor customer experience if that transaction takes too long, the customer has to repeat themselves. It can definitely lead to poor customer experience. And on top of that, if your data is siloed, how can you build strong customer profiles that are going to enable you to have targeted offers and products based on the customer's history and preferences, if all of that data is siloed in different systems and applications? So that's the challenge that most financial institutions are facing today. And we at Creatio believe that the way to address this challenge is through technology, specifically customer relationship management and orchestrating business processes through business process management tools. A lot of banks and financial institutions are trying to manage this within their core systems. And they're not designed to create, customer experience. They're designed to house data and financial tools within there. So we believe that CRM and business process management is the way to meet those expectations of the consumer, but also for banks. So this slide kind of outlines exactly what I'm talking about. It's a little busy, but it's meant to be that way because there are so many processes and applications that banks and financial institutions have to work with today. So on the left-hand side, we can see that banks or credit unions have some key processes that they need to follow. So up at the top, we see CRM, right? So typical CRM applications for sales, marketing, and service. They also have front office applications for things like customer onboarding and lending practices. And then from there, you also have middle office. So all of that processing as you, start your lending process, whether that's a middle office application for underwriting or compliance management, maybe it's know your customer or anti-money laundering. These are all middle office applications and processes that have to be followed. And then finally, that fourth tab that you see there is something that not a lot of people think about. It's these back office applications or corporate services. So most financial institutions, banks, credit unions have a large amount of employees. How do we manage our internal customers, right? So whether that's human capital processes like new employee onboarding or requests for time off. Also, how do they get support, right? If there are a lot of diverse and remote teams, and you think about banks with multiple locations, how do they get support for their equipment if their computer system goes down or their phone system goes down? And then also, how do we manage, auditing of our diverse teams? So, these are the key processes. And if we take a look in the middle of the screen, this is how we at Creatio kind of bring all of that into a single application, right? So if we think about all of these different processes, whether they are customer facing or employee facing, each one of these processes might have a different system or a different application that's managing that. So if we think about a customer that walks into a branch location, they may be applying for a loan, they may have an existing deposit account. There may be 3 or 4 different systems that teller at the branch location has to access in order to just have that single interaction with that particular customer. So that's really what we're doing through a process-driven CRM. First and foremost, everything starts with a 360-degree customer view, which you can see on the left-hand side there. Having all of that customer data in a single location will keep those front office employees from having to access multiple systems, multiple screens. Everything will be consolidated into a single view of that particular customer. Now, it's great to have all of that data, but there are also transactional processes that are going to happen as well. So again, if we use that example of a loan application, right? They're coming in, they're processing a loan application. That loan application has to go through a series of approvals. It has to go to underwriting, and then inevitably, it will have to bring that customer on board into the bank as a lending customer as well. So again, that process could be accessed in multiple systems. It could have multiple levels of approval that have to go out to different locations. How do we streamline that process to create a better experience for that particular customer? So that's really why the combination of business process management and CRM on a single platform really can tie all of that together and streamline that process and that experience for that customer. On the right-hand side, you can see that these are the tools that we are utilizing to create that functionality. We have all of the built-in analytics and dashboards, so we can see how those processes are performing, what is the health of our customers. We have all of the business intelligence built directly in the platform. We have full business process management and dynamic case management to create that workflow and that process across multiple departments. It allows your frontline employees to collaborate because everybody will be having that single view. So whether you're front office, middle office, or anybody in a customer-facing role, we have the ability to have a single view of all interactions of that customer. And that fifth bar that you see there is integration and synchronization. We understand that CRM is not going to replace the core banking system. It's not going to replace your lending system. Those have very specific functions that CRM will not be able to accomplish. But what we can do is we can integrate with those tools and bring all of that data into a single lens of that particular customer. So we have a fully open source API that can extend into third-party applications and have that bi-directional flow of data from CRM to those other third-party applications. So I know the screen is a lot, but these are all the different components that make up customer engagements at banks and financial institutions. So if we do not have the ability to combine all of those into that single lens, it could lead to, again, frustration for the employees that have to access multiple systems to get that data. Therefore, that culture thing that we talked about earlier goes out the window. Nobody's happy about trying to process that loan application because it's a cumbersome process. That could lead to customer satisfaction issues. So if that person's sitting in the bank and it takes 45 minutes to a couple of hours to process that loan, that's not a very good customer experience. So how do we empower the employee to manage that process quickly, and how do we enable that customer to have that best experience, whether that's on the phone or in a branch locations? Well, that single view brings all of that together. So just a little bit about the benefits of that platform. Again, you take a look at an entire customer journey, right? So all of those interactions that are taking place with customers, how do we streamline that data, have it readily available for frontline users to just access it without having to go to different systems, so we can manage that entire customer journey from when that person either picks up the phone or walks into the branch locations all the way to fulfilling that request for that particular customer, having a streamlined tool to do that. From a sales perspective, how do we build those customer profiles so we can start to understand their preferences, who they're connected to, right? Householding. If you have kids that are coming of college age, they may need some lending, some student loans. How do we also manage our interactions with our corporate clients? So really everything to drive better sales within our account base and our prospective account base. Lending, the ability to streamline the processes for application processing, loan origination, underwriting. We have out-of-the-box processes that can be utilized directly in the Creatio platform, but also because we are a low-code application development platform, we can also build those processes and applications very easily without any coding or heavy development resources. And then finally, marketing, our business, our financial services marketing. The ability to target customers based on data-driven decisions that are happening within the CRM. We want to market to them in a way that won't be a shotgun approach. We can take any of those data elements that we're collecting and then market to those individuals with specific offers that will be providing value to them So they don't feel like they're getting spam notifications from the bank. You'll have targeted marketing directly through the CRM platform. So now let's take a look at some actual customers that have utilized the Creatio platform to create better engagements with their customers. And the first off is OTP Bank. And OTP Bank is one of the largest banking groups in Central and Eastern Europe. They support over 12 million customers and have 1,500 branch locations. So you can imagine a bank of this size has a product catalog and a customer database the size of a phone book. They also have many remote and siloed teams throughout the markets that they serve. And their challenge was to create consistent customer experiences and processes to support these experiences and ensure their customers would get the same level of service regardless of where they were within their market. They chose Creatio to address this challenge and utilize us for a couple of different services. So one, they wanted to create complete 360-degree profiles of the consumer and corporate customers on a single platform. So having these profiles allowed them to also create guided consultation processes and help them be able to have better engagements with those customers. They also wanted to have the ability to digitize and automate their document management processes. So again, there are a lot of loan applications, contracts, things that are being signed with their customers, and they wanted to automate that process. So things like, if you come in based on your customer profile and you want to have a loan application, well, we can pull up that loan application and based on your profile, auto-populate some of that data directly into the form. Then that form can go through its process flow. So the application goes in for approvals, then it goes off to underwriting, and then ultimately customer onboarding. So they wanted to fully automate this process because that process was taking quite a bit of time for that, and it really didn't lead to a good customer experience. So they were able to automate that process for document management and approvals as well. And this really allowed OTP Bank to fully integrate and automate their front office and middle office operations. So again, that document flow and approval flow really tied those two operations together. It also helped their frontline employees, which they have 850 of. So they became more efficient in working with customer requests for service. So again, the way that helps is the customer doesn't have to repeat themselves. They're not waiting. Time is valuable, right? If you think about in your own life, when you go into a bank or any organization for that matter, your time is valuable. You want to be dealt with efficiently. Again, you expect the institution to recognize you, so you don't have to repeat yourself. So by having the tools necessary, it really empowered their employees to have those better engagements. And then another bonus from having all of the processes automated was that it helped them to be able to cut down on errors and also compliance issues. So as everyone on this call recognizes, the financial services industry is one of the most highly regulated industries out there. I think, I can't decide which one is more, healthcare or financial services, but, it's very regulated. They have very strict compliance regulations that they have to follow. So process automation really helped OTP Bank cut down on those compliance issues that they had as well. So just another added bonus. And, OTP has had tremendous success with the platform. So they've also identified additional areas of their organization where they can apply this tool set. So things like back office HR applications, and again, helping to support 850 employees in the front line, not to mention all of the back office employees as well. So you got to think of that again. You also have those internal customers that you have to maintain, and again promote that culture within the organization. So the next customer that I'd like to discuss is End Credit Union. And End is one of the top 25 credit unions in the US. They have over 330,000 members. And they also have about 5.4 billion in assets under management. So credit unions have a very different business model than banks. Their investors are their customers, and each customer is part owner of the credit union, if you will. So that's why their customers are called members, right? And they want to provide greater returns and services to their investors or members in this case. So End came to us with two important challenges that they were facing. First was indirect member onboarding, and let me just explain what indirect member onboarding is. So you have members and then you have indirect members. Indirect member would be, let's say for an example, somebody that goes into an auto dealership, applies for a loan, and that loan gets processed through End Credit Union. Now that customer knows that they have their auto loan through End Credit Union, but they may not know that that also makes them a full-fledged member of the credit union. So they qualify for all of the other products and services that they have to offer. So whether that's deposit accounts, credit cards, student loans, mortgages, you name it, they qualify for all of those services that the credit union has to offer. So in the past, that indirect onboarding process was very transactional, right? You came on, you have your auto loan, they tell you how to process your payment on a monthly basis, and help them understand how much was still owed on that loan. Where they struggled was communicating with that indirect member to make them a full-fledged member, right? Getting those deposit accounts from that person as well. So that person is doing banking in some other facility, but how do we get them on board with the credit union and grow our deposits, which then in turn will allow us to loan more money? So that was a big challenge, and they wanted to create a process where, as that indirect member came on board, they could have a communication strategy to educate them on all of the different benefits of the credit union. So that was a major challenge because they felt like they were losing a lot of revenue. They were one of the largest auto loan providers in the region that they serve, and they felt that they were missing a huge opportunity if we couldn't convert some of those indirect members to full-fledged members. So the next challenge that they were having was also with their corporate customers. So they have a business banking team that goes out and works with local businesses for loans and other services that they need as local businesses. The problem that they were having is that each manager, each corporate banking manager, had a specific territory, but those lines were kind of blurred, and you may have different members of that team calling on the same customer, which didn't lead to the best customer experience for those business bankers. So they needed a way to kind of track the interactions that their team was having with those businesses within their market. So who's talked to that customer? What was the last interaction? Who are they working with? What teams within the credit union have they been talking to? So they really needed a CRM functionality, true CRM functionality, to manage those customer engagements, 2, their opportunities, and 3, their pipeline of opportunities that they had and progressing those through the pipeline. So they really felt that these challenges they needed to address very quickly because they felt they were missing opportunity, one, to better serve their members, but also derive more revenue from their member base. So they had a very tight timeline and needed to select a vendor that could develop and deploy these 2 applications very quickly. They chose to go with Creatio because of our low-code application development platform that enabled them to configure these applications and meet those business requirements very quickly. They were able to have a minimum viable product up and running within 3.5 months. So this project for those 2 processes were so successful that Ent has now decided to make Creatio their member engagement platform. So all of the front office, middle office, and back office teams will be accessing Creatio for member data and transactions. They want to really streamline the way that they engage with their members and create better experiences for their member base. So they will be utilizing this across their entire organization. And again, everybody will have a single view of customers. So there's not different organizations, different types that are having different types of those interactions. So another great example. So the last customer I'd like to discuss is Oman Arab Bank. So Oman Arab Bank is one of the most customer-driven organizations I've ever come across. To give you an example of that, if you were to walk into one of their branch locations, you would think that you're walking into a 5-star hotel. It is that level of experience. Like when they come in, they want their customers to be feeling great about doing business with them. They get a very white glove service from the moment they walk into the door to the moment that they walk out. And similar to the last couple of examples, Oman Arab Bank had siloed customer data and also diverse teams throughout their region. Again, they had many branch locations. So they quickly recognized that they couldn't provide that white glove level of service to their customers if they could not orchestrate the customer data and their teams to provide those consistent experiences. They really wanted to create a culture where every employee was empowered with the tools that they needed, all the data that they needed to provide outstanding experiences to their customers. They chose Creatio because we provided a platform that enabled them to create data-driven experiences for their customers. So each frontline employee has access to all the relevant customer data on a single screen. They get visual representations of the customer's health, their preferences, the products that they own, the products that they don't own. So they don't even have to go searching for this information. They have a visual representation directly on their screen. So it's very easy for them to get a snapshot of that customer without having to search for any data throughout the CRM. They understand all of the transactions that they've had, right? They can see, the number of, transactions that they've had recently. They can see, what services they're using, whether that's, they're using ATMs, they're using online banking, but they're not coming into the branches. They can really break it down to that level of detail of how the customer chooses to engage with their bank. And also another aspect of their business is, those processes, right? So when someone calls in or walks into the branch, how do they process, all of their lending applications, account openings, all of that now is seamlessly managed on a single platform. So kind of the business outcomes for Oman Arab Bank really is, they manage over 550 customer profiles within the system, and that really has allowed them to build robust customer profiles so that they really understand, that customer, understand how they want to be serviced, how they want to grow, what they want out of the bank. And this has really allowed them to have those better engagements with their customers, because those positive customer experiences and also understanding their preferences, their goals, has enabled them to see a higher revenue per customer. They're able to make offers directly to their customers based on all of the data-driven insights that they're gathering out of the CRM. So as those are in there, they're able to understand exactly what to offer, what that next best offer is for that particular customer. They're able to generate that through the CRM platform. And finally, we've seen increased efficiency for their teams by empowering them again with the tools necessary to provide those outstanding experiences. This was a great example of a customer-driven organization that recognized that things weren't as smooth as they possibly could be for their customers. So they addressed this through technology, and now again, one of the most customer-driven organizations I have ever seen. Their experiences are just outstanding, and they are recognizing true benefits of the Creatio platform. All right, and that is those examples that we have, and I think at this point we'll open it up for some questions and answers.
Yes, let's open it up for some Q&A. Eric, thank you so much for such a great discussion and some strong customer cases. Definitely showcased and highlighted Creatio's capabilities for financial services companies and banks, and some of the great things that we've accomplished for those customers. So moving into some Q&A, how can CRM data build a more robust profile of an ideal prospect?
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, if we're building profiles, everything comes back to data, right? Everything nowadays is about the data that you are collecting on customers. We know because we have data-backed decisions, this enables us to build profiles on what the ideal customer would be, right? So we know where we've had success. We know that customers that have purchased this have also purchased this, or have subscribed to this loan or this particular credit card. We're able to take that data again and build these profiles, not just of the customers themselves, but the industry as a whole. What's working, what's not working. We're able to utilize CRM and analytics to gather and build those profiles of ideal customers. So the ability to have those data-driven decisions is really what's important, especially in the financial services industry, to truly understand what market drivers are and what those ideal customers look like.
Great, thank you so much for that thorough response, Eric. Moving on to another question from the audience. What do you see as the biggest challenges for financial services? And how can CRM maybe help overcome these challenges?
Yeah. So I think that, well, there's many, but it's kind of hard to nail down, the biggest one. So I think that the biggest challenge, in my opinion, would be, the competition that they face, right? So, there's a lot of choices. Again, if you just go down your main street, you can probably, see, 10 different banks within a 5-mile radius. But on top of that, you're starting to see organizations like online banking, like companies like Chime, that are offering very streamlined services to their customers. And again, if we go back to those customer expectations, they want to have those tools available. So the ease of doing business is really what's going to differentiate banks and other financial institutions in their marketplace. So it's boils down to what customer experience are you going to be able to provide to your customers. So the challenge really is one, determining what those services are, and then two, how are you going to implement that strategy, especially with banks and financial institutions sometimes have a lot of legacy systems, and that data does not flow out of those systems very easily. So how do we create those better customer experiences so that way we can gain more customers, but also keep them from leaving our financial institution?
Definitely. Thank you so much, Eric. Our next question, how do we increase internal collaboration between lines of business and regions to deepen the customer relationships, drive referrals, and provide consistent customer experience?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. And we talked about that a little bit, right? There's a lot of orchestration in some of these banking processes, right? You'll have that frontline employee that's working directly with the customer. Some of that information, may need to go to different areas within the bank, and you have to coordinate that process flow amongst multiple teams in some cases. So that could lead to, if you don't have the proper tools in place, you're managing that process either over the phone or through email, which really is not very efficient and leaves a lot of points of failure in that process. So the ability to have a platform that can coordinate all of that interaction and allow that collaboration across multiple teams is truly important. And again, from a Creatio standpoint, that's why we've designed our platform specifically to coordinate that, right? It's not enough sometimes just to have a customer relationship management tool, but you also have to have those best-in-class processes that are driving that collaboration and that orchestration across your entire organization.
Absolutely, and excellent response, Eric. Thank you so much for answering that question. Another question that has come in is, we need to remain compliant with regulations. How does CRM help with this?
Yeah, as I had mentioned, one of the most highly regulated industries. So there's a lot, and those compliance requirements are constantly changing as well. So it's how do you get compliant and how do you remain compliant? Really is the question. So one, by having specific processes in place that you have to follow these steps, whether that's, let's say for an example, know your customer. There's several steps that you'll need to take in order to meet that compliance. Well, that compliance also may change. 6 months from now, there may be additional steps that you need to take in terms of identifying your customer or knowing your customer. So the ability to adapt to that change and build that directly into the process as well is also another key aspect that you have to consider. And there'll be new regulations as well, right? So not only will your existing ones be modified, but there'll be a whole host of new compliance regulations that you'll have to follow as well. So having process-driven application that will allow that process to be followed to a T, and not allow a specific end user to kind of fall out of that process or forget a stage in that process is how we foresee helping our customers with regulatory issues and compliance regulations.
Great, thank you so much, Eric. And I do remember you touching on that, but thank you for giving us a bit more detail there. Another question, how have you helped businesses in the financial services sector meet diverse challenges? And I know we discussed a lot of this with customer cases, and this actually came in before then, but maybe some additional color there.
Yeah. So again, I think the banks and financial institutions do have a very diverse set of challenges that they have to face. So the way that we've helped again is truly understanding, right? If you understand what the market drivers are, if you understand what your customer base wants, what the market itself wants. Again, you take a look at consumer expectations. Again, we want access to our data, whether that's on a mobile device, whether that's, coming out to your website and logging in. I want to be able to get all of my data anytime, anywhere I want. You'll have all of these different challenges, but if you understand truly what is driving the market and what your consumer expectations are, you can start to build your strategy on how to address all of those challenges. So we've helped organizations, build those profiles. Again, build profiles of the ideal customer, build profiles of their existing customers, and then address, challenges associated with that by having a true understanding. Secondly, we also are able to quickly create custom applications and processes utilizing low-code application development. So, if we take a look at our current situation, right? This health crisis that we're all going through right now has exposed, broken processes within many organizations. So, if you think about banks, they've had to shut down their branch services outside of, maybe drive up. So how do they support their customers? How do they handle that influx of requests that will be coming into their contact centers? So they had to quickly adapt to how they were going to service their customers, because banks are an essential function, right? How do we adapt to that? Well, being able to create custom applications and process flows very easily enables them to say, okay, well, we have this understanding of this customer, it needs to be routed here more efficiently. Having that complete view of that customer available will help that average time to handle that request go quicker. So there's diverse challenges, but I think by understanding the market, understanding your customers, and having a tool set that can be configured to meet your business challenges very easily is really where Creatio shines, and how we've helped our customers overcome many different challenges.
Great, thank you so much, Eric. That was very, very helpful for our viewers. Now, I think we're approaching time here, so I think we can probably tackle about one or two more. Our next one is, what are the biggest business benefits of using a banking CRM?
Yeah, business banking benefits are, again, as we talked about some of those use cases, the ability to drive better customer experiences will lead to higher customer retention. Your customers aren't going to want to leave you for another, bank with, a shiny object that they're dangling in front of them. If you're providing those great customer experiences, you're going to be able to retain your customer base. And not only retain your customer base, but also create promoters of your organization, right? So if I have a great experience, I'm going to tell everybody I know. If someone asks about, hey, where do you bank? Or, hey, I need to find a bank, I'm going to tell them my great experience that I have with that particular organization. So it's going to lead to greater customer satisfaction. It's going to lead to more promoters of your brand. And then also it can help drive revenue for the organization. So if we think about the way that banks operate, right? They want to increase deposits into the bank. And the reason they want to create more deposits is because the more deposits you have, the more money you can lend. Banks don't make money off of the deposits. They make money off of what they are able to lend. And if they have the deposits to back that up, they don't have to go out and borrow money to continue lending. So having a banking CRM enables you to target customers so that you can get more deposits, therefore you can get more loans, therefore you can get more revenue within the organization. So that's just a couple of different ways, and there's also many, inherent benefits as well. Again, making your operations team more efficient. Making sure that you're not missing out on opportunities because you have broken or siloed systems. So we're able to tie all of that together again in a single platform and a single source of truth for the organization.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Eric. I think we have time for just one more. This is a great question for right now. Given the current climate and concerns for many businesses, given COVID-19 and just many industry changes, given recent events, how do we plan a go-to-market strategy? And maybe how do our capabilities support that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, during this health crisis, it's forced people to take a look at how they're going to get back to normal, and they have to prepare for a best case and a worst case scenario. And they're going to need to be very agile in how they get back to normal. So again, whether that's limiting the, I'm just going to give an example, limiting the amount of people that can access, a branch at any given time. So do they have to schedule appointments for individuals to come into the bank? Do they have to, create additional processes to support an ongoing, like let's say they don't open back up, how do we continue to support our customers? So you have to take a look at that best and worst case scenario, and then the way that a CRM can help is to manage all of those interactions, right? So having a schedule, being able to determine which customers need to be routed here, which customers could be supported, remotely, which customers might be able to self-serve, on, a customer portal. So we can give the ability to do all three, right, and coordinate that care to make sure that each customer is supported equally, regardless of how they're getting service. We want to make sure that that remains consistent regardless of what happens. And CRM can help you do that because you're going to be able to understand the history, the interactions. You'll be able to know exactly where a customer has been, what they're requesting, and where they need to go. Because you're able to coordinate that by having profiles and processes to support that.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric. That was a really thorough response and definitely very beneficial for our users. Thank you so much for answering all the Q&A.